Okay, so I'd like to get you comfortable with writing your own programs from scratch. So I'm going to walk you through writing 5 different programs that are using different things. Some use strings, some use numbers. And then I'm going to give you 2 exercises, which are programs that you're going to have to write on your own from scratch. Okay, so taking a look at this template, if you don't already have it up, you might want to go get it. It's attached to the assignment in the Google Classroom. The other thing you might want to prepare is the tab at the top, which allows you to type the Python code in. So we're going to work through this together. You're going to follow along and try it out. And hopefully, after we finish 5 of these programs, you're going to get the hang of it. We'll see. Okay, so question number 1. What I'm going to do just to make it easier is I'm going to copy and paste this into the top. Now I put the hashtags in the front so that it looks like something the compiler or the interpreter for Python will ignore. So that's called a comment. So I'm commenting those lines out, but it tells me what I'm doing here. So ask a user to enter a 5-letter word. That's easy. I'm going to use input, and I'm going to put inside the parentheses, inside string quotes, please enter a 5-letter word. And I can leave a space so it looks nice when we run it. Now, the other thing I have to add to this line is a place to store that word, because after we're going to be using this. So I want my word stored in a variable called word, because that makes sense to me. All right, next line. Print out each letter in the word on a different line. So if you remember, we're going to use those square brackets to print this out. So print word, and 1 letter in the word I'm going to indicate using an index value, and the very first letter is at index 0. So I'm hoping that'll print out the first letter. I believe it will. Now, wherever I can, I like to make my life easier. It's a 5-letter word, so we're going to print out index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4, and there's no index 5 because it's length 5, like length 5, if I can talk. Okay, so this looks like everything we need. I'm going to run it. It says enter 5-letter word, happy, and let's see what it did. It printed a different letter on each line in order. Yay, we did it. I'm happy. All right, next. So that's exercise 1. Next, exercise 2. Well, here's my question. I'm going to jump over here. Maybe you know what? I'm going to take it in case you go back and you look at the video and want to be able to judge what question you're on because you're looking for a specific one. I'll include the question at the top. There. Ask a user to enter how many grams of cat food their cat eats each day. Do you have a cat? I have a cat. So input. How many grams of cat food does your cat eat each day? Question mark, space, there. And again, we're going to be using this value. We're going to be using it in a calculation. So we want to have our value given to us in not a string, but a double would be nice. So we can do that. That's a float. And we can put this whole thing in brackets so that the answer is converted to a float. And we still want to do something else. We want to store that value. So I'm going to call it number of cans per, oh wait, number of grams per day equals. So if I look at that line, It's getting an input value using the input function. The float function is converting the string to a number with a decimal point in it, and then it's going to be stored. The equal sign indicates it will be stored in a variable called number of grams per day. Okay, what next? There's 365 days in my year, so it's not a leap year. And, oops, actually that's a change. 100 grams. A 100-gram can of cat food costs $1.29. I looked it up. Calculate how much money is spent to buy the cat a 1-year supply of food. Okay, so a 1-year supply of food. I'm going to have to take the number of grams per day, and I could have done that a lot easier if I just went and double-clicked. I could do Control C, and then down here, Control V, and I wouldn't have had to type it in at all. Okay, so number of grams per day multiplied by how many days multiplied by, what's the cost? Number of grams per day, but it's $129 per 100 grams. I think I need to figure out the cost per gram. And that I can see is $1.29 divided by 100. So I want the number of grams times the number of days times the cost per gram. That's going to tell me the total amount that it's going to cost me. So I'm going to print out, you spend, whoops, that should be a dollar sign. And we're going to concatenate all this, but I want it as a string because we're concatenating it. So I'm going to make the calculation, turn it into a string, concatenate it to that, and then I'm going to concatenate it with on cat food each year. Okay, what will this look like? Will it even run? Let's see. How many grams of cat food does your cat eat each day? Well, we give ours 50 grams. You spend $235.43 probably on cat food each year. That doesn't quite look like it's formatted very well. I think we can improve on this. So I haven't told you this yet, but there's a way to format numbers. And right here is where the number goes. So I'm going to put a formatting piece of code in here. And that's going to go in those curly braces. To indicate its formatting, I'm going to put this colon. And what I want is a space, 6 spaces for my number. I want it to 2 decimal places, and that means it's a floating point number. So that should format my number for me. But because I'm using this type of syntax, I need to put my number because it gets filled in for this. So I'm going to put my whole string first, and this piece here. So I'm just going to take out all the concatenation symbols and whoops, a little bit too much. I have one string. So you spend some cool formatted number thingy here on cat food each year, and my number gets put at the end. I want to format, I have a lot of brackets. I don't need that many. I want to format the answer to this in this way. I want it to use up 6 spaces, I want 2 decimal points, and I want a floating point value. So let's run this one, and hopefully I've done it right. Okay, back to my 50 grams, and look at that. It's rounded properly, and it's formatted my number for me to 2 decimal places. That looks so much better. I can put a little dot in there, and then it even looks like a proper sentence. Okay, so you learned a little bit about formatting. Just to review, in order to use this formatting technique, you have to use the curly braces. So it's comprised of a string followed by this dot format function with the number in brackets that you want to format in the way specified within the curly brackets, curly braces. So 6 spaces, it's going to use up 6 spaces in total. It's going to be a floating point number with a decimal point, and it'll have only 2 digits after the decimal point. Okay, cool. And just so you guys get the right thing here, that should be 100 grams. Next question. All right. Question 3. Ask a user to type in the price that they paid for a new hoodie. Print out a receipt to look something like the following. So the price is there, federal tax, provincial tax, and the total. And I think it would even look cooler if we have a line between what's above and our answer. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, I think you could see right away we're going to use the cool formatting stuff. But we want to input what was the price of your hoodie. So we're going to input a value, and that value needs to be converted to a floating point number. So we'll put all of that, whatever we get, into a function to turn it to a floating point. And we want to store the amount. So cost. So the equal sign is going to take that floating point number and store it in cost. Okay. Now we want to print some things out. We want the price, so that should be easy enough. And I'm going to make my life really easy by copying that just as it is to here. And I know I want my number formatted. And how do I want it formatted? Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So I'll go for 5. And I want 2 decimal points. And I forgot, almost forgot, I need that colon because I need to indicate this is how it's going to be formatted. I'm going to print out the price, which I've called cost. So my number is stored in that variable cost. Okay, so that's the first line. Next line. I'm going to do something very similar. So what if I just take this, copy, paste, and it's going to be this line. So copy, paste, same formatting, but now I want to calculate federal tax. How do I, oops, I did this wrong. Format, I need to say dot format, don't I? Okay, almost missed that. Okay, so I need to calculate the federal tax. The federal tax, it says, is 5%. So in here, I want my cost. I'm going to multiply it by 5%. Percent means out of 100. So 5 out of 100 is that. So that should get me the 5%. Okay, next, print. I'm going to do something very similar again. So copy, paste. This time it's provincial tax. I'm going to go to here. So right up to my colon, right here. There, that lines up nicely. And what am I calculating? Provincial tax is at 8%. Okay, next I'm going to print the nice line that I just added here. I think there's a couple spaces as well. So put that in there. And the last line is going to be printing out the total, which again will be similar to this. And it's going to look like this, but now the cost, so in total it's 13% tax. So we want 100% of the cost plus 13%. And actually, if I just do that, the 1 gives me the 100%, the 13 is my 5 and 8 added up, and that should give me the right amount in the end. Let's see, did I do things correctly or is there going to be an error? Let's say our hoodie is, okay, up above I had a price of $25.99 and it prints out very nicely. Look at that. Love it. Okay, so formatting is very, very nice. We don't get a whole lot of digits after the decimal point. Okay, on to question 4. Ask as user to type in a letter. If the letter is a vowel, print out vowel, otherwise print out consonant. Okay, now this is interesting. We're going to learn something new here with making decisions, branching. Now there is a really nice piece in Python from scratch on branching. I highly recommend you check it out, but we're going to learn it here. Okay, ask a user to type in a letter. So we're going to do some input and say type in a letter. And we need to store that value because we're going to do something with it. I'll call it letter. That makes sense to me. So we don't need to convert it to a number because we're going to be looking right at the letter to see if it's a vowel or a consonant. Okay, so we're going to jump right in with if. Now, our letter is read in like a string, and we have to use it like a string. So we have to look at the first character of what they typed in. Hopefully they only typed in one letter, but you never know, they might have typed in more. So if that is equal to, and my vowels are A, E, I, O, and U. I'm not going to bother with Y. I can't put an if structure like that because what we're doing with this double equal sign is we're going to compare what's on the left to what's on the right. We're only allowed one thing on each side. And right now we've got 5 things on the right. So this is going to be a long, drawn out looking if structure because we have to check if it's equal to A or the letter is equal to E And I'm going to copy paste again. So copy, and I'm going to put in here, paste, paste, paste. And I'm going to make it look pretty, take out that space. And now we've got if letters equal to A, or letters equal to E, or letters equal to I, or letters equal to O, or letters equal to U. Made it to the end. At the end, I have to indicate it's the end with the colon. Now, what happened to my cursor? It automatically indented 4 spaces because under an if, everything that's indented is what's going to happen as long as that statement above is true. So if our letter is A or B or E or I or O or U, then we're going to do what's here. And what we said to do was print out vowel. So print vowel. So it's ready for us to do something else. And we could if we want, but that's all we're required to do. Whoops. So I'm going to jump over here because we're going to do something different if it's not equal to A, E, I, O, or U. So again, colon. We want to print consonant. All right, let's run this. Type in a letter. Okay, I'm going to put T, consonant. That's awesome. How about A? Yep. Whoop, wait. Run. A. Enter. Oops. Yeah. Okay. Run. E. Okay. Test all of my I. O. U. Okay, what if I put in uppercase A? That's not a consonant. Is there a quick and easy way to fix this? Because if I put in an uppercase letter and it's a vowel, it's going to think it's a consonant because I didn't check uppercase, I only checked lowercase. Well, I could add 5 more conditions here, but that would be a longer way. We learned that there's a function we can use with strings. If we just take this whole answer here and we convert it to lowercase, this should work. Let's see. Does it work? Vowel. Does it still work for the other ones? Vowel. Yeah. Okay, let's try uppercase O. Whoops, I hit run instead of enter. Vowel. Okay, good. So all I have to do is convert all my letters to lowercase, and then I don't have to worry whether an uppercase or a lowercase was entered. Okay, on to question 5. Ask a user to type in their name. If they just hit enter instead of typing something in, then print the message, "That's not right." Otherwise, print out "hello" plus their name. Okay, so again, we need an input. Type in your name. And we're going to have to store that. It's not a number. We're going to be using it as a string. So I'm going to say name equals. So there's my equal sign, which is an assignment. All right. What am I going to do? If they just hit enter, how do I do that? If. How do I know that they didn't type anything in? If they don't type anything in, then the length of name is going to be equal equals. Don't put a 1, don't put a single equals here, put a double equals. If length of name is equal to 0, colon, print That's not right. And else, colon, print, hello, name. I don't have to do any fancy conversion functions in front of name because it is a string, and concatenation works with strings. Let's see, does this run? Type in your name. Hello, Cogswell. Let's try it again where I just hit enter. That's not right. Okay, so hopefully you've got the hang of it, because I'm giving you these two exercises to do on your own. And did I spell British wrong? Oh, I did. Terrible. Okay, and then you get to pass them in when you're done. Okay, so if you have problems, you can always email me, and good luck. I hope that you'll do well.